The government of Nicaragua condemned imperial aggressions against the peoples and governments of the world and expressed its solidarity with Venezuela in the face of the sanctions and blockades imposed by the United States against that country. In an official communique issued on Thursday, the Nicaraguan government rejects and condemns the continuous aggressions that, in the form of undignified and punitive domination, are launched against its people and governments in times that it describes as of luminous battles for our dignity, sovereignty, and rights. The document went on to say that imperial, colonial, and neo-colonial aggressions only show the impotence and rage of decadent and decrepit empires, which morally have lost all battles against a world that is neither submissive nor dependent, but brave, courageous, and determined to transform the outdated systems and create a new multipolar order. It finally states, another aggression, more struggles, more victories, more honor, and more glory for that heroic Venezuela and for all of us who know that powers belong to the people and that it is up to us to defend it every day with the fortitude and strength of our great spirits. On Thursday, the Venezuelan Foreign Minister issued a communique in rejection of the most recent package of coercive unilateral measures imposed by the U.S. administration. The Venezuelan Ministry of Foreign Affairs set forth the following: Venezuela rejects in its most energetic terms the new crime of aggression committed by the U.S. government against Venezuela by imposing coercive, unilateral, illegitimate, and illegal measures on a group of state authorities, demonstrating once again its full disregard for international law, the self-determination of the peoples, and the democratic will of the Venezuelan people. The statement continues by highlighting that the wrongfully called sanctions break and violate the agreements signed in Qatar and pretend to impose to an entire country and its political institutions the regime change policies as part of the Monroe Doctrine. Finally, the document ends by stating that the multicentric and pluripolar world of which Commander Hugo Chavez spoke about has become a reality, and no aggression or threat will separate the homeland of Bolívar from its leading role. During the 57th regular session of the United Nations Human Rights Council, Venezuela rejected the aspirations of what is posing to be a new version of the failed Lima Group led by the fascistoid government of Javier Milei. Precisely, this group seeks to continue using human rights as a tool to attack sovereign nations that have opted for popular and anti-imperialist political projects. In this regard, the permanent representative of Venezuela to the United Nations, Alexandra Yanez, highlighted that those countries associated to the Lima Group are subordinated to the interests of the United States and are accomplices of the Israeli genocide in Gaza.
Thank you, President. We exercise our right to reply in response to a statement read by the Argentinian Foreign Minister speaking on behalf of a group of countries. Obviously, we all know that this new aggression targeting Venezuela comes from the United States, which is once again using its lackeys for despicable purposes. And the United States and its satellites are determined to use the Human Rights Council to apply the so-called regime change doctrine. Thank you. President, we exercise our right to reply in response to a statement read by the Argentinian Foreign Minister speaking on behalf of a group of countries. Obviously, we all know that this new aggression targeting Venezuela comes from the United States, which is once again using its lackeys for despicable purposes. And the United States and its satellites are determined to use the Human Rights Council to apply the so-called regime change doctrine and to apply maximum pressure against Venezuela. These governments, particularly the US government, thumb their noses at international law or human rights. And this is abundantly clear if you take any review of their position in response to the genocide being meted against the Palestinian people in Gaza. In the face of this global tragedy in Gaza, these governments are actively involved in said genocide through the supply of weapons or information used by Israel to bomb schools and hospitals.
Furthermore, the permanent representative of Venezuela to the United Nations, Alexandra Yanez, warned about the true motives behind these systematic attacks on the Bolivarian Republic, which lie in the Western interest in its oil and gas reserves, and expressed the conviction of the Venezuelan people and the countries of the Global South to oppose to these imperialist advances and exploration of their resources.
However, they're all of a sudden very active and cynically so when it comes to their response to a country that is merely seeking to defend itself from the systematic aggressions of the imperialist power, a country that is fighting fascism, a coup d'etat, attempts at external invasion, several assassination attempts, and the almost 1,000 erroneously labelled sanctions imposed by the US, the EU, and the UK. Such a range of criminal efforts targeting a people who are secretly trying to live their lives. All of this to try and change a popular socialist government duly elected and do so forcibly. A government which happens to be the owner of the world's main oil reserves and the world's fourth largest gas reserves. We, the countries of the global south, have a responsibility to continue to allow Western countries to continue what they have been doing for centuries, or for choosing to stand up against them. They have colonized, stolen our resources, imposed their own interests, manipulated our decisions and killed our people. In Venezuela, guided by the sword determination spirit of the liberator Simón Bolívar, we say no. Enough is enough. We will not accept this.